Hi everyone, Elizabeth Rose here from Deputy, and today we are going to be taking an in-depth look at new hire onboarding. In this video, I'm going to teach you not only how to use this feature, but also how to set it up for the very first time and how you can best utilize it. So before we get started, let's talk a little bit about this product and what it can do. So as the employee, you're going to be able to send your employer things like personal contact, bank details, and tax information. As the employer, you're going to see how you can send out employee contracts to your employees, policies and procedures. You're going to be able to request documentation from them like certificates, identifying documents, and all of that really important stuff that you need to gather when you're first bringing somebody on. You're also going to be able to ask customizable questions. And the best part is all of this information is going to be housed in the employee profile. That way you're not digging through emails or filing cabinets to find that information in the future. So to get started, the first thing you want to do is navigate to the people screen. And from there, we are then going to find that onboard new hire option. And coming in here for the very first time, you are going to be directed to the screen where you would be sending this information. So Deputy is asking us, who are we onboarding? And here's all the information we need to capture. And then here's all of the things that we can send to the employee or request from them. So starting at the top, we need to go into settings, and this will direct us to where we set this up for the very first time. Now, if you have a look at my screen, it might be a little bit different than yours because I have already started setting things up, but don't worry, I am gonna walk you through how to do this step by step like it's completely brand new. So the first thing you're gonna notice when you come in here is a little pop-up is gonna come up, and it is going to ask you to identify who is going to be sending this information to your employees. Now, I've just set up my business name and an HR email address. And if I needed to change that in the future, you can come back in where I did to change sender and update that information. If I'm happy with that, we'll move on and save it. And the next bit here is to set up any documents that I need filled and signed. And I've got an employee contract as an example here, and we will go through it in just a second. But to set up a new template or a new contract, just come into the option to set it up for the very first time, give the template a name, you can add a description if you'd like, and finally add an attachment. Now, the way that this feature works is think of it as a fillable PDF. So you are going to put your contract in to Deputy, and then you're going to specify where in that contract we should be filling in information. So let's take a look at that now. If we want to, even at a later date, we can come in and edit this contract, and we can also delete it from here. Coming in to edit it for the very first time, you're going to have to tell Deputy what custom fields you want in this contract. So the first thing we're going to do is click Add Field and click into this search box. Now you can either type in information that you like, or you can select from the ones that Deputy has recommended we have. So we definitely want to have team member name in there. We want to have wage, perhaps the address, definitely the job position, when the employee should be starting, and maybe the hours of work or working days. Okay, if this is everything we need, we'll just click Edit Template and we'll be directed to the template editor where we can then make changes and tell Deputy exactly where information needs to go and what information needs to go in it. So exiting out of that box, this is a Word document where I have created my employee contract, and all of this information you can see would be really hard to put into this and get the proper spacing. So what I would encourage everyone to do to make this a lot easier on them is to create a template, a table in this template, and it looks something like this for me. Now, this is because although Deputy allows you to have up to 50 contracts, I don't really want to do that. I want to make this as easy as possible. So I have created a table here where I can change all of this information based on the employment type and the role an employee is doing at my business. So this makes things heaps easier for me. So now what we're going to do is scroll back up to the top, and I'm going to teach you how to fill this out. So the first thing we want to do is definitely gather the employee's signature and the date that they sign this, right? And that all comes from this signer's option team member. This is telling me that I am currently addressing anything on the contract that the employee should be signing. And I can grab the signature box from here, drop and drag, and I grabbed the date, dropped and dragged it. Now what we need to do is we need to change this because the employee should probably not be filling out the contract themselves. So we are going to change this option to sender now, and this is the HR person or the manager that is onboarding this employee. This is the information that they should be filling out before they send it. So we're going to come over here and we're going to grab this text box option, and I am going to drop it and drag it right here where it says Dear, and obviously we need a first name there. So this says hours of work, and we need to come into here where it says what text goes here, and we need to update that to team member name. Now you can change the size of this box if you need to, but I'm going to leave it like that. And scrolling down, I can then add more information in here. So I could add in the location, for example, which would be workplace address. I can also grab this option, and in here where it says pay details, I can put in wage and etc. So that is how it is for me to put information into this, the way I'm using it. And if I move my face a little bit, you can see that I can change who this box is assigned to. I can delete it. I can enter placeholder text, and I can also update the formatting here. But if I'm happy with the changes I've made here, which I am, I'm going to go ahead and click continue. Actually, before I do that, one other thing, you might be wondering what this Me Now option is here with senders. This option is Me Now, the template creator, and any changes that I make using this option will be for all employees. It's not really beneficial in the way that I'm using the contract, but it might be in your case. So I just use these two options to make it a lot easier for me and make this template more flexible. So I am going to click continue, and we are going to move on to the second section while this is editing, or while this is loading. So documents that you need. These are documents that you would like your employees to provide you. If we click in here, we'll see there's 4 by default that Deputy has set up. So that is birth certificate, P45 form, passport, and supporting documents or right to work. Now this information is required by law, so we can't delete these even if we wanted to, and we cannot edit them either. They are in here for good. Okay, so adding a new document is very straightforward. We come in here, we click add, we give the document a name, and we can put in a description. Now this would be for things like, for example, a driver's license, a certificate, anything else that you need, identifying information that you require for this person to do the job. So I'm going to go and put in driver's license here because that is a good example. And one thing to note that with document types, you can only add 1 attachment per document type. So if I needed both the front and the back of the driver's license, I would have to put in here front, and then I would have to create another document type back. So that's just something to be aware of. So we're going to go ahead and add that. You can see it's been added here, and I can delete it if I need to, if I no longer need it. All right, I am happy with that setup. We're going to move on to our final section, which is all about additional questions. So this is any of the questions that we can ask our employees. Now I've already created 3, so let's go in there and talk about them. The first thing that you will notice is that I can reorder these questions. So if I wanted to change the order these appear in, I can move them around and change them just by dropping and dragging. I can create another question here if I need to. Let's talk about the different question types though and how you can change these. So coming in here, I have just put in my question, can you work weekends? It is a yes or no answer, and it is a required response. And I can delete that here if I need to. Coming into my second question, please tell us about your shift preferences. Obviously, this is going to be a short answer because yes, no, and multiple choice isn't going to be very helpful. I'd like a little bit more detail. And then again, it's a required response. And third and final one is please provide your shirt size for your uniform, and then a multiple choice option here. And again, I can add more options if I need to. I can require a response. So if I'm happy with those, and we haven't made any real changes, so let's go back to onboarding settings, and we're going to leave that because we don't want to change the order. Okay, so that is everything that you need to set up. One thing on this page that I haven't pointed out yet is the onboarding export. So anytime we use the new hire onboarding feature, we can come in here and we can collect all of that information and export it out if we need to. All right, that is all set up and we are ready to go. So what we are going to do is we are going to fill this out, and we are going to go ahead and put in here the employee's name. And the email address is very important. The reason for that is because this is where the onboarding link is going to be sent for the very first time. So make sure that this is correct. That way your employee gets the link and they'll be able to set up their account. All right, now we just need a phone number. We need to specify the location the employee is going to be working at and their access level. We're going to need to select the document that we need signed. Again, you could have multiple. So in this instance, I just have the one. Once I click in here, I need to put in these details. So we'll put in the wage, and then Glow was the address. Okay, so all of this information has been filled out. I can add more templates if I need to. So if I wanted to send this employee not only the contract, but perhaps policies and procedures and get them to sign off on it, I could. Finally, we've got documents you need uploaded. We can tick or untick this depending on the role. So we'd probably have a couple of document types here, but this is just a demonstration. And finally, these are the questions the employee is going to get asked. Now we are going to go ahead and onboard this team member. Thanks so much for watching. Join me in the next video where we explore the employee experience and how they complete their new hire onboarding packet. I'll see you there.